Hi, I'm Lauren Edmonds. I'm the founder and owner of a school that supports children with learning delays. I'm hoping the space gives you something to think about. I want to talk a little bit about getting to know your kids. And this is something that we often miss, and we should take caution not to miss. I'm reading Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird at the moment, and it's about writing. And I've got to the chapter about dialogue. And she talks about how to write dialogue so that the reader of your book does not get bored. And she talks about how you need to observe people and understand things from their point of view in order to know how they would speak. And it made me think about our kids. And are we really understanding things from their point of view? And she goes on to talk about Anthony Hopkins and his role in The Silence of the Lambs as Hannibal Lecter. And she says here, if Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs hadn't had an emotional understanding of Hannibal Lecter's heart, his mannerisms would not have rung so true or been so terrifying. And what I take from that is when we understand our children's hearts, when we understand what they're trying to bring into the world, what they're trying to achieve through their words, through their behaviors, through their responses to you, through their skills and lack of skills, if we understand their hearts, what their intention is, we can draw empathy from ourselves into that, and we can understand more fully what they need from us. In therapy, we talk about how all behavior is communication. And this is completely true for children, for adults, for everybody. Behavior tells us something. When I nod my head, I'm probably affirming something, saying yes. When I turn my back on you, I'm probably dismissing you in some way or getting out of the situation. We talk about body language all the time, but then we fail to read it in our children. We need to completely understand the intention behind our children's behavior and have empathy and compassion for it, and then give them the tools and the support and the connection they need in order to get out of any pain that they might be in, or to reflect back to them who they are so they get a stronger sense of who they are and not who they think the world thinks they should be. There's author Stephen Cope, and he talks about, I can't think of the book right now, but he talks about the first part of your life and then the second part of your life. The first part of your life is you trying to create yourself, and the second part of your life is you're trying to find yourself. And that's a natural course of the human life. But I would hope that we would give room to our children to not create themselves based on false feedback, false responses, disingenuous connections and understandings of the world, and that we give them room as much as possible to create themselves from a base of who they are, not who they think they should be for us. And this is particularly true for children who have any kind of neurodivergence or any kind of diagnosis or pattern that takes them away from what we see as the norm. Because children like that often don't feel good enough. They don't feel accurately seen. They don't feel heard. They struggle to feel attached and connected. They struggle to be in the world. And the more we can help them by seeing them and reflecting back to them who they are, the beauty of them, the realness of them, and accept them for that, the more open they are to being themselves and then working on the difficulties that need to be worked on. But if we can't allow children to see themselves for who they are through our eyes, being the people that love and respect them, parents, grandparents, and teachers, if we can't allow that space for acceptance of who they are, then we can't move forward with them, because then they get stuck in hiding it, misunderstanding it, or trying to create something that they think we want from them. And then that's just misconstrued understanding built on top of misunderstanding, on top of misunderstanding. And then we're left with a child that has broken self-esteem, that doesn't have direction in life, that doesn't trust themselves. And ultimately, in raising children to be independent, autonomous, productive adults, we want them to know themselves and like themselves and see the dark side of themselves and work with that rather than pushing it down and hiding it and pretending. Girls do this a lot, and we call it masking, because they are very good. Girls are very good at pretending that they're okay. So much so that when they get to be an adult, they don't even know if they're okay or not, because they're so busy pretending something else. They're not intuitive. And we want girls to be intuitive. We want boys to stop putting out a facade of bravery when they're struggling, And we want children, when they show us a behavior, to believe them, believe their feeling, believe whether they're coping or not. Sit with them in that. Allow them to see themselves, not through judgment, but just through observation, and then being there as they develop themselves out of that space. But it's so interesting to read a book about writing about characters and how it strikes an interesting thought in me about, do we really know our children? And what do we need to do in order to know them?